All right. Looks like we're back for episode. Where are we at? 57. Man, it just keeps climbing. Episode 57. And so, what do we got this week? Well, of course, I think the only thing we can talk about is tariffs. So, a lot of tariff things happening, good and bad. And let's talk a little about that. Of course, I made no real money off of it, which is the unfortunate thing. Otherwise, I would have retired like some people in Congress this week. And then, I don't know, again, open discussion. I feel like that's a thing now. So it's not as planned, but talk about some other things that happened this week, I guess. So yeah, we'll see where the conversation goes.
What a crap show, right? The tariffs. I mean, it's just crazy how one person has so much power to
Yeah.
manipulate the stock market, but more importantly, manipulate the world. So yeah, it's actually interesting to me because I've been thinking through, what's going on, and just like, yeah, he's been meditating on this for the last 4 years, ever since Biden took over the office, and it's just going aggressive with it. So, couple things around what happened last week. Last episode, we talked a whole lot about tariffs and the reciprocal tariffs and how the formula just didn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
The impact to what the other countries and other kind of world leaders think of the U.S. and the squeeze that Trump was doing. But then since then, I think he finally broke. That's how I articulate it, because the stock market kept going down and down and down. And I'm sure many CEOs, like Tim Cook, for example, were communicating their concern, disappointment, and whatnot, because Apple was hit hard, right? I don't know how much went down in the week since they launched tariffs. You see here.
It was like in the I think it touched like 170 something.
Yeah, they went down.
170.
23%.
Yeah.
And that's, Apple is a stable stock. Like, it only usually swings 2 to 3% on a bad week, but it went down 23%. So expect that to pop tomorrow, because after announcing that he would pause all reciprocal tariffs for 90 days, except China, he announced yesterday that he's going to exclude phones, chips, flat screens, and computers from the China tariffs. So it's basically Nvidia, Apple, Microsoft, any computing company, or Google that gets those things from China are going to pop tomorrow. So yeah, what a roller coaster.
It is like the ultimate manipulation of the market. At least that's what it feels like. So yeah, like I was saying, I didn't make much money off of it this week just because it's hard to predict what is going to happen next, right? And so for people who don't pay attention, well, actually, I feel like the entire country is paying attention just because, yeah, so it came into the week very negative, right? Everything was down. Monday was, again, another down off of like Thursday, Friday. Was it this week that we were still down? Yeah.
Yeah, people were calling it, let's say, be prepared for Black Monday.
Yeah, prepare for Black Monday. That's right. And then it kind of, yeah, I mean, it was bad. And then all of a sudden it wasn't, right? And so apparently on Wednesday, Trump decided to say it's the best time to buy stocks ever in the morning. And then at a weird time, right, around 1-ish, they announced they were pausing tariffs for like 90%. And then the market was up almost 10%, which is insane. Yeah. And it felt like manipulation because, well, I mean, if you're on any reputable news outlet, people started to dig into unusual trading or options being placed. There were definitely people who knew that this was going to happen and capitalized off of it.
Well, because even right before that, I follow this Discord, this trading Discord.
Mm-hmm.
right before that news broke, there were a bunch of signals saying the SPY is starting to go up and it's pushing against heavy resistance. It looks like
Yeah.
it's going to break through.
Yeah.
No, there were big buyers then keeping it afloat,
Yeah.
knowing that this was coming.
Yeah. And so it's just like, man, it's like you're just getting screwed left and right. Right? It's like you position for like the worst case or things not getting better, and then all of a sudden they do that, and it's just like, nobody in their like, unless you're gambling, right, is going to buy, let's just like SPY for example, or like SPX, right? You're not going to buy like a strike that is like 300 points out of the money, right? But yeah, that's what people were doing, and it was just like
Yeah. And so,
GG, 1 cent contracts. All of a sudden, they're $100 contracts.
yeah.
It's kind of amazing.
Well, and so to build off of your manipulation, I think this is why, yesterday, like I noticed a lot of things have been happening on the weekend too. And so the play
Yeah,
here is they load up on Friday,
that dump on
announce
Monday.
what they just announced yesterday, which
Yeah,
was exclusion of all these things. And then
yeah,
people in the know bought Apple, Nvidia, all the stocks that are going to be impacted positively by this news
yeah,
going into Monday.
yeah. And I was sitting there Friday. I was like, why is Apple so strong? Like it was literally out of like Mag 7. It was like one of the strongest on Friday, and it was just like, what? It was just weird. Should have known better after what happened on Wednesday, but yeah, no, I mean, I still had puts going into the weekend. I had one call, but I did sell it because it's like, oh, this is kind of green.
Yeah.
Why risk it? But oh
Why did
well,
you have puts going into the weekend?
because we still haven't heard what negotiations they've had. China is likely not going to back down. So China put out this statement, which was basically saying that they increased their tariffs, and they were like, at this point, our tariffs are so high, we're not going to bother anymore because nobody in their right mind is going to import anything at this level, which is like,
Mhm.
over 100%. And so like, we're just going to ignore you if you're going to do anything else. But if you read like stuff out of the White House, they were like, it sounded like they were begging China to come to the table, right? And it was just a matter of who would blink first, and I don't think China was gonna blink first. And I think, yeah. Anyways, so I mean, I was a bit bearish, which I should have known better. And I mean, I think all my port is basically a long, right? So it's really
Yeah.
just additional hedge, just because we were
Yeah.
up, and I was like, why are we up? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But now I know why. It's because there's this weekend thing, and again, people were front running the announcements
Yeah.
in a big way.
I mean, everyone knows that this happens in Congress already, where people just have privy knowledge.
Yeah.
And maybe it's not even malicious. Like maybe it's not even, what is the word, corrupt.
Yeah.
I think it's probably public news in some sense, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I feel
it
like,
just hasn't made it out yet. Like it's not
yeah.
confidential, it just hasn't made it out yet to the
Yeah.
masses. So they're the first to know versus
Yeah.
the only to know.
Yeah. And it's like, yeah, it's not corruption. I mean, it feels a bit insider trading-ish, but I guess the difference for me is like, I just didn't perceive it as blatant
Yeah.
manipulation or blatant like insider trading, right? Like Nancy Pelosi, I know people bring it up a lot. And I keep thinking like, if you look at her trades, typically they are like these leaps options, like Nvidia leap options, right? And I feel like later on, people are like, oh, Nancy knows what. And so they just follow trade her. And so whatever she trades into, right? It goes up inherently because people are just following it, right? Kind of like self-fulfilling. But like this past week or whatever, it was like the trades were happening like 10 minutes before an announcement, right? Or the day before. And so it feels corrupt,
Yeah.
right? Because it's not like a long front run. This is like, oh, you guys found it. You're like literally trading before the stuff happens, right? Versus a week out, or you bought these stocks. What was this other one? Like, what's her name? Major Taylor Green, whoever she is. Like
Margie.
Margie Taylor Green. Yeah, like they were looking, she's like been buying up stocks and she's not really a stock buyer. And like she was buying all the stocks that would be affected by these announcements. Like literally those were the only stocks she was buying, right? And so it's just like, it doesn't feel good that way. It doesn't feel good the other way either. But like, anyways, it's like I
Sounds like
wish
you should run for Congress, Tony.
maybe I don't know what's stopping me.
Yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate, but that is
Yep.
the world we live in, right? With people who are wealthy, people who are in positions.
Yeah.
However, it's just sad to see that, Trump was able to pull this off like
Yeah.
that. So what do you think happens from here on with tariffs?
Well, I mean, technically, I think this is where Trump blinked first,
Mm-hmm.
right? Versus China. This is kind of ironic. It's like everybody is now citing like bonds is the reason why they kind of blinked. It's because it was going in the wrong direction, right? Because the theory was that, whatever 10D chess or whatnot was they were trying to
In
tank the
10 years,
economy
like
in order
America would
to
be,
refinance the debt, right? But apparently no, it was actually doing the opposite, and so they blinked. But yeah, so I don't know. I think they'll start to announce individual countries
yeah.
that came to the table so that they can claim the win. And then I'm sure China or something. Well, I don't know. China is a bit hard because it's like the rhetoric out of the White House is still very anti-China. And just everywhere they talk, it's like the China is bad. Oh, and then I guess I was just reading this morning. So Lutnick was clarifying because people are curious. It's like, all right, the entire talk was about bringing manufacturing back. The exemptions are basically everything that we want to bring back for manufacturing, right? iPhones, computers, right? And the only thing that is not exempted are like clothing, all the low value stuff is not being exempted, which is backwards.
Have you seen those memes people are creating about like, oh, forget
Oh,
with the American clothing factory?
yes, yeah. Apparently, those are the Chinese are
Yeah.
starting to get into the meme game.
These like white dudes just trying to sell
Yeah, these
these for
obese, yeah,
sewing machines.
obese, typical how people think of Americans. Yeah, it's actually really
Hilarious.
funny. But yeah, so the question comes up, right? Is these exemptions that went out the weekend? It's like, why? How does that even make sense? Right? It's like whatever the
Although
number
one thing that wasn't
was.
in there is cars. So car manufacturing is something that would need to come back. And
Yeah,
that is a strategy push, right? Like he's trying to bring Detroit back, right? In terms of when it used to be prominent in car manufacturing.
yeah, yeah. But it's just like still, right? Okay, so cars is one thing, but there's always been talk about like we need to be a leader in AI. We need these high value type manufacturing, right? But all exempt. And so, anyways, so Lutnick was like on the tariff exemptions. He was like, well, they are exempt from these. I'll just read the quote. It's like they are exempt from reciprocal tariffs, but they are included in the semiconductor tariffs, which are coming in a month or two. So it's like, okay, so semiconductors are not going to be technically exempt in a month or two. And this is why the back and forth is insane, right? It's
Yeah.
like everybody's tariffed across the board. And then all of a sudden, nope, we're going to pause it for 90 days. And there's just only a 10% flat tariff. And now they've introducing this next layer of, all right, so there are going to be exemptions for the moment.
Yeah.
And then we're going to go back and tax additionally what we've exempted specifically. It's like, what are you guys doing? It's crazy. So now you have to mark everything on your calendar. Okay, a month or two, semiconductors is coming along. 90 days, the pause gets unpaused. It's just like,
Or it'll be extended.
or it'll be extended, or, but it's just like, there is no art of the deal. People
Yeah.
straight like, Fox News is always talking about, oh, this is the art of the deal. It's like, Trump didn't even write the book. Some other guy ghost wrote it.
Yeah, it is. It's dangerous to be in the market right now. Unless you're a day trader and you're like on it. So yeah, I mean, time in the market is better than timing the market.
Yeah.
I
It's
continue to
like,
hold through a lot of my stocks.
mm,
I actually benefit a little bit because before, I think Black Monday or even maybe it was Tuesday, I was like, okay, this is super low now. Like I'm going to start nibbling. And so I bought into coin. I bought back some of my Rivian.
Mhm.
Rivian didn't really go that low, actually.
Yeah.
I bought Trade Desk.
Sad. I'm still, yeah.
So I bought a number of stocks on Tuesday, and so kind of benefited from the pop. It wasn't a ton of money, but still positive
Yeah.
ROI.
I think any Max 7, you
Yeah.
know, anybody who dipped in on that would
Well,
be very happy.
and then one thing I also did was because I knew crypto would start to go up. I had sold like half my crypto before the down, or actually it was like middle of the downturn, because I wanted to use that money to just do some, swing trades or day trades.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I full ported that money into Sol.
Wow.
It went down like,
Yeah.
I was like, crap, I'm out. So I sold it.
Oh no.
Yeah. Then I rebought it.
Okay. All right.
Like I think a day later, and it's
Yeah.
back up like 8%.
Yeah.
Kind of break even
So,
right now. And so I'm like, I think if the market continues to go up and crypto follows, Sol's gonna double again.
yeah. Which again, that'll put me back at break even. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
So not financial advice for everyone. This is just what we do and for entertainment purposes only.
Yeah, I think Solana feels like it has the better long term,
Yeah.
but we'll see.
Yeah. So I'm sure there'll be more tariff news next week. But so far, this debacle, this clown show, whatever you want to call it, has been depressing to say the least for many. But just stay safe out there.
Yeah. Buy Apple.
3 years, 9 more months.
That's the other thing, right? Where are we?
It's been 3 months.
3 months. Yeah. It's like it, but it's felt like forever.
I know.
Exhausting. Yeah. Buy Apple.
Yeah, buy Apple. Well, related to electronics, I guess. Maybe some lighter news to balance the kind of the chaotic news we've been talking about the last few episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Toshiba recently announced, I thought it was really cool. They recently announced a portable vinyl.
No.
They recently announced a portable vinyl player. If you like
Mhm.
records, many people like records. I mean, records are always going to be that vintage feel, that vintage sound
Yeah.
of music. It's very common for people to have a record player, and they're just awesome. Toshiba announced a new record player that's similar to a Sony Walkman or Apple's iPod. You can carry it in a backpack, take it with you on the go, and play any record from it. It's called the AX-RP10, and it's expected to ship sometime this month in April. It plays vinyl. It has a battery that can last up to 10 hours, compatible with the most common record types.
Yep.
And connects to a Bluetooth speaker. So I don't see any pricing on here.
It better be like 100 or 200, not more than 100 or 200. But
Yeah, I agree, between 100 and 200.
it feels very niche though.
Yeah. Well, I think it is for sure.
Yeah. I have one record.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
literally, I have one record, and it was the Marvel movie, Galaxy
Galaxy of the Guardians.
of the Guardians. Yes, it was like
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy. Oh my gosh. But yeah, it's a vinyl from the first movie, like the collection of
Mixtape.
of his mixtape, and I thought more of like a collector's thing. But yeah, that's the only vinyl record I actually have.
Do you have a record player?
I don't. I've thought about buying it. So like for me, what's always I've wanted, it's really more for decoration.
Yeah.
Just because it looks cool. But now it's one thing I've actually held off on not buying.
I'm the same way. I've always, I think, wanted to buy one. I just never pulled.
Yeah.
I have no vinyl records myself,
Yeah.
but I wish I could have a collection.
Yeah.
The one thing about this player, though, when I'm looking at it is, the article that we are reading off of is bring your vinyl to the beach. And when I look at this thing, I'm like, I would not want to bring this to the beach because it's basically open. There's no cover.
Yeah.
And
sand would tear up your records.
Exactly. So I don't know, not the best use case for the Verge. But what I do like about it is that it looks pretty compact.
Yeah.
So I think one reason I haven't really pulled on buying a record player is because it just takes up too much footprint.
Yeah.
Whereas this looks like it could take up a lot less.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought just bring this to the table and give people something else to dream about.
Should do product reviews.
Yeah, product reviews.
I still think that'd be interesting to do product reviews. Maybe that would be a pivot.
Yeah.
But that requires money, so we'll see.
If Trump can deliver and get the stock market back up to 650, 700, then maybe we can buy our first product to review.
Oh yeah, it's like
Nope.
I ordered like an inflatable swimming pool for
Oh,
my
cool.
son on Temu. And I was like, oh, okay, this would be cool. It's like $40. And then I get a notification that says, okay, you'll get this in like a month because it requires shipping by sea. And I'm like, this is like 3 weeks ago, by the way. And so it's like, oh, we have to ship it by, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine. It should get here before, whenever crap hits the fan. But apparently not. So I'm going to probably end up paying an extra 50, $70 on tariffs.
Oh, wait, didn't you already pay?
Well, that's the thing about like Temu and Shin, is that you pay, it doesn't cover any tariffs. And so once it gets here, UPS or whoever might end up trying to collect from me the tariff that is due on it. And this, again, this goes back to consumers pay the tariff. It's not the business that pays the tariff.
Interesting.
But I will confirm when it actually gets here. And like, I guess this next, it's here. I don't know.
I thought it was the importer that pays, meaning the business.
No. It's because they ship direct. But we'll see. But I'm anticipating a hefty tariff bill for my $40 pool.
So if you buy something directly from China, shipping directly to you, you're responsible for that tariff. However, if companies like, we'll say Amazon, for example, imports things from China and holds it as stock, then they have to pay the tariff. But then they'll usually pass that down to the consumer.
Correct. So like if you had a third-party seller
Yeah.
on Amazon, right? It's basically who is the
I've never
initial recipients of the product.
I've never really ordered anything directly from anyone in China. I did order like one or two things in the past, which were like cycling bibs, cycling clothes. And I remember that was just like such a pain to return.
Yeah, I order stuff all the time from like AliExpress, just for like things that, just like weird things like neon signs or LED signs.
I don't order weird things. That's why, Tony.
Oh, is that why? Okay. Like chargers, like here, like this is, I couldn't find this anywhere on like Amazon and stuff, but it's
you have
your phone charger, Apple Watch charger, and then your AirPod goes in here. Yeah. It's like an all-in, but it's like then this cool little car thing, and it glows. There's a little light.
I have one of those, but it's by Anchor and it's not designed. I think whatever I was going with that, what you just made me think is
it's $15. If you bought anything like that, it'd be like $50, $60.
Well, it's $15 and it's going to last maybe a year. I think that's why I stopped buying things like, cheaply made, knocked off things like that, is because they just haven't lasted me long.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's why you have to be picky. You have to pick and choose. Like, okay, this probably will last a little bit longer than normal.
All right. Well, you'll have to showcase a weird thing every show from now on.
All right. Yeah.
I'm interested.
Okay.
All right. Well, do you want to talk about the last one or no? We're at half an hour now.
I didn't even know what this was. Mira? What did Mira do? Why not? It's AI. Another AI startup.
Well, another quick mention around AI and OpenAI specifically. But Mira Murati, who was OpenAI's CTO, as you know, stepped down last year after all the chaos at OpenAI. We knew she would do this, like she has to, because of the reputation and, the momentum she's built with OpenAI. Yep. She's raising $2 billion pre-product for her new AI startup called Thinking Machines Lab. It's a $2 billion seed round and is reportedly going to be one of the largest seed rounds in history. $2 billion for a seed round. But basically, there's no product. She's basically using her OpenAI credibility as well as the
As well.
people who she brought over with her to fund
Say
this
that's-
company.
Say that's insane. Like pre-product, like if they actually had like something.
Yeah. Well, she obviously has a vision, but no product. And so I think the reason she's able to pull this off is she has high profile OpenAI people like
Yeah.
OpenAI's previous chief research officer, Bob
Yeah.
McGrew,
Yeah.
former researcher, Alec Radford,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sure she has a couple other less known OpenAI people, but they have OpenAI experience. So,
Yeah.
So good luck to her.
I mean, with 2 billion,
Well,
the valuation was 2 billion. Not that she got 2 billion. Yeah.
No,
Okay.
it says, oh, well, she's raising 2 billion.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So value the company at 10 billion.
Wow. Okay. I thought that was the valuation, but okay. See, that's even more insane.
Yeah.
Holy crap. That's a lot. Okay. Well, good for her. She's gonna be okay for the next 5 years.
And she'll blow it all away in like 2 years.
And she'll blow it all away. Yeah.
And then if she does good, then she'll be known as person who raised the most money at the highest value. Like the stock market, like the economy, everything all gets more valuable. I mean, we'd be hearing stories lately. Like every year with NFL, there's a record deal.
Yeah.
At what point do you have to? Why do you have to do all these record deals? It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Let's stop there before we get onto a pessimistic rant.
Yeah.
All right. Well, next week we'll come back and update you on the road of tariffs to other stuff. So
earnings,
but we know it won't be.
Earnings seasons kicks off. Also, Netflix is next week. Yeah, so that's just gonna be even more chaos for the next 3 weeks is earnings. So, anyways,
all right. Well, stay safe out there, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week.